Eric Babu off the bench. Hits 4 straight free throws. Has his club back to within 5. Corey Wright, the quick push. Nice little move on Bell, and then Bell gets back on defensively.
Much more aggressive this time, man-to-man by Rhode Island.
Thomas with that jump stop of his, back rims that one, and Eric Babu the rebound.
Nice adjustment by Jim Harrick. More aggressive, getting after it that time by the Rams on defense.
Reynolds Dean stripped by Kama, who came from the blind side, gets it ahead, right between the legs to Thomas.
Oh! What a beautiful dish that time. And the crowd loves it when Thomas goes up and sends it down.
Odom on the little coast to coast, and he's pushed on the drive. Justin Farley is going to pick up that foul.
Justin Farley, that's his first.
Here's the Providence College highlight of the young season right here.
That's the aggressive defense we talked about. Corey right through the legs. And Thomas with that one-hand turning dunk. Some nice style points on that one.
Thomas with 7 of the 13. We mentioned he's capable of a big afternoon. The Rams continue to be sloppy. Their 6th turnover in just about 6+ minutes of play. Moore back in the game, loses the handle, but it comes right to Cole. Most of the bounces have been going the Friar way here early.
Oh, nice
Thomas, nice fake. Oh, got to make that shot. That's going to be Cole with the foul over the back of Odom.
Yeah, when you get a guy to go for the fake like that, sometimes you can be too open and your eyes light up and you steer the ball a little bit more than just letting it flow out of your normal release.
Ed Brown has checked into the game for URI. Ed, a wide body.
Well, no question. He's listed at 6'8", 275, the transfer from St. John's.
That's a triple XL on Ed.
He'll be banging away on the boards, and again, that front line hasn't really been a factor so far for Rhode Island because Providence's pressure creating turnovers.
Odom all the way to the basket, a little long with it, and Maxey up big for the rebound. Here comes Moore on the break. Gets it ahead to Perkins. Nice little lay down, rejected by Brown. And another strip by Wright. And then Bell gets back in the play. And Moore knocks down the jump shot.
Well, it wasn't pretty, but Providence will take the results. And this is the kind of game that Providence would prefer. Scrappy, up and down action.
Here's Brown to the basket, and he banks it home.
This is where Rhode Island can really start to get themselves going in this game, is to get into the paint area with the ball and take advantage of the size they have.
Maxey trying to create on the baseline, skips it out to right. They swing it. Moore will take it and make it.
Well, it's another 3. That's the second 3 in this game, and Rhode Island giving some room to Providence from out there and then making it count.
First double-digit lead of the afternoon belongs to Providence College at 18-8. Odom long with the jumper. 1 and you're done so far. The story for URI.
Luther Clay and Antonio Reynolds Dean, both terrific rebounders, on the bench right now for the Rams.
Corey Wright backs it out. Shot clock down around 17. We're approaching 11 minutes to play here in the first half. A major upset in the making. The Friars are 0-2. They have never started a season, never as in never ever, 0-3.
And they're coming out playing with a purpose so far in the first half to avoid that kind of outcome.
Tim Higgins with the call down low, and I think it's Maxey who's going to pick up that foul. On Maxey, that's going to be his second. We've got a timeout. 10:46 left to play here in the first half. It's all Friars. They're up by 10. Well, they say you can throw out the records when you have a rivalry like this, and so far you can throw them out.
Kendrick Moore with that nice jump shot from the right side, knocking down the three, and Jamel Thomas had hit one earlier. Providence getting so much early in this game off of their defense, creating another turnover here by Allen, and Corey Wright with that great between the legs bounce pass. Don't advise that to the youngsters with the fundamental bounce pass in mind, but he made it work, and Thomas with a great finish.
Gets himself on SportsCenter with that one is what he does.
Yeah.
Jamel Thomas back in the game. Thomas with 7 points. He's the leading scorer in the game. Eric Babu off the URI bench has 4 points off from the free throw line. URI just 2 of 9 from the field. And they have to use a timeout because they can't get the ball inbounds. Lamar Odom is on the bench right now for Jim Harrick, and I was about to remark before we went to that timeout run that Lamar Odom is soaking wet. I mean, you commented earlier about him having to bring the ball up and work, and he went by us, and water was just pouring off him.
A lot of energy for the 6'10" forward, really guard forward, point forward, having to bring the ball up, try to create shots and rebounds. So a lot of energy, and that's right where some of the smaller guards for Providence would like to have him, way away from the hoop, bringing the ball up.
19 points and 9 rebounds a game so far on the bench for Jim Harrick's club. Eric Babu, Vincent, Jefferson, Brown, and Bell are out there. So the starting front line of Odom, Clay, and Reynolds Dean watching right now for the Rams. Tavares.
Nice touch from the outside for the freshman from Hempstead, New York.
Brown again takes up a lot of space and then throws it away, looking for Vincent.
These games are coming at these coaches, Mike, earlier and earlier, so this is a really, good battle. You've got the state of Rhode Island, URI, and Providence, and a tough matchup for both clubs, having come off the tournament this week with TCU in Vanderbilt.
Thomas unable to take Bell off the dribble. Moore back rims the jumper. That one's taken down by Eric Babu. Gets it ahead to Bell. Bell wants to go all the way. No, says Tim Higgins. Foul before the shot.
That's a good call. Bell was making that move just inside the free throw line, and the foul will be on the floor right there. And then he continues with it and finishes, but Conley with the reach in. And we've got the bonus situation right now for the Rams.
So Tavares, Bell, as Tim Welch looks on. Bell, part of the great recruiting class at the University of Rhode Island that, as Ron mentioned earlier, included Zach Marbury, who has now become apparently an academic casualty. Conley, well, he's usually money in the bank when he's left that wide open. And a traveling violation is called on Vincent, trying to get out of the pressure immediately applied by the Friars. That's 9 turnovers, only 1 for Providence College.
And the turnovers have been a big problem for the Friars coming into this game. URI is taking great care of the ball. Give Providence credit for the kind of pressure they've been putting on so far, and a couple of mental mistakes also by the Rams. Man-to-man now by Rhode Island. Good adjustment. That zone looked kind of passive here to start the game, although, again, not much pressure on the basketball at all.
Rhode Island only had 6 turnovers in the game against Vanderbilt. 9 already here this afternoon. Thomas in the blocks, gets the bump, and will get to the line, give the foul to Bell.
That's the thing with Thomas. We talked about him at the beginning. He's a player for Providence that can really create shots and make some things happen, as you saw John Cal and Jim Harrick talking things over at the in front of the Rhode Island bench.
Jamel Thomas on the line for the Friars to shoot 2.
Tim Welch with his point guard. Jamel Thomas, preseason all-first team in the Big East.
Lamar Odom checking back in for the Rams.
Vincent will sit down, so it looks like Lamar Odom once again may handle the basketball here.
Jamel Thomas, number 13 all-time on the Providence scoring list, up over 1,300 points for his career.
Kamar comes back in, and Moore will go out. 9:33 left to go here first half, and the Friars have doubled up the Rams at 20-10. Brown throws it away. Just kind of threw it out there for grabs.
Full court pressure, and he never really got any movement along the baseline.
Kamar back rims that one. Nice hustle in there by Conley. And better hustle by Bell. Boy, Bell is an active player out there.
Yes, he is. Thought he might have double dribbled. He caught it, bounced it, and then bounced it again, but it all happened so quickly. Great hustle. Where they are really forcing Odom to his right, huh?
Yeah, and forcing him way out. I mean, they can't even get to the three-point line. They got 15 seconds on the clock. Eric Babu missed the back cut there by Bell. Goes instead to Odom. Odom realizes his 10 on the shot clock, being harassed by Conley. Rhody, they don't know how much time is on the clock. Well, Bell, did he get it off? He really didn't. No, they didn't have any idea how much time was on the clock.
Yeah, there was no sense of urgency when the clock got down to around 5 or 6 seconds with Odom. And then they lost track of the time. Good defense again by Providence. Anytime you can, you know, force that kind of no shot defensively, you're doing a great job.
Friars slowing it down in the half court now.
This is controlling the tempo right now by Providence. Run when you want to. If not, set it up and work the clock a bit.
There's Kamar to the basket with the left hand.
Boy, Kamar's really shown nicely off the bench so far, Mike. Nice touch. Quick out there, and that was some acceleration to the goal.
URI right now 3 of 10 from the floor, and the 10 may be more surprising than the 3. They just can't get shots because they're turning the ball over so much.
The Odom would have a good matchup inside. No one to get him the ball down there, though.
Odom, nice look inside, and Bell follows.
That's a fine rebound and touch pass by Odom.
Brown up there to tip it away. Good hustle play by Brown. I think Odom was about to pick off that pass, but Brown didn't know it. He tipped it out of bounds. We've got a timeout, 7:40 to go in the first half. It's a 10-point game. You're watching Big East basketball from ESPN+.
Ticket holder John Schaefer.
Welcome back to Providence, everybody, where the Friars are pulling off an upset here, at least through the first 12-plus minutes of this game. 22-12. And here on the 14th of November, football still on the minds of lots of folks. Penn State trying to bounce back after that rough showing last week. Michigan cruising over Wisconsin, 21-7. And Missouri, the early lead on A&M. I believe that game is at A&M. Thomas. But Bell is a nice player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
a nice defense.
Very active.
And that is knocked out of bounds by Cole, but the Friars are definitely still the quicker team to the basketball.
No question. They've been the aggressor since the start of this game. They've forced URI into turnovers, and as a result, enjoying a 10-point advantage in this game.
Florida, the early lead, 10-0 over South Carolina, and West Virginia and Rutgers. Rutgers still with some bowl hopes there if they could come back in that game. And Boston College, the 16-7 lead on Pitt. I'll keep you updated as the afternoon rolls on.
Tim Welsh also keeping fresh bodies on Lamar Odom in this first.
Jefferson has to kick it out. Odom. Well, the ball doesn't waste a lot of time in Odom's hands.
Nah, he really would be fun to play with, Mike. He's got his head up, and if you're open, you get the basketball. Just how to play the game.
Thomas leans in. Oh, that was a difficult shot.
That's what you call the fadeaway. He's got great hang time, and here's the Providence pressure.
Odom and Reynolds-Dean, who have been combining for 35 points a game, have a total of 2 here this afternoon.
Yeah, I was noticing at the 7:40 mark, we're down to 6:25 right now. Odom yet to get on the scoreboard in this first half. Only took 2 shots in the first half the other night against Vanderbilt, so one thing to let the game come to, but right now he needs to be a bit more aggressive looking for the shot.
Jamel Thomas picked up that foul. Rams huddling up at the free throw line, and I think Torrey Jefferson is bleeding a little bit from the mouth, and so he's going to have to head to the sideline. Tim Welch will use the opportunity to call his team over to the sidelines. Jefferson heads down to the trainer. 6 minutes, 19 seconds left to play here in the first half, and Providence up by 10. When you're rolling along like Providence, you don't need delays like this.
No, you want to keep the momentum alive. No breaks in the action. This will give Odom a chance not only to regroup, but also to get himself on the board and get this to a single-digit deficit.
Odom will be at the free throw line and a chance to put his first points up of the afternoon. Can't do it. Rebound to right. Thomas once again. A great looking shot. Battle of the boards is won by Brown. Make that play rather with that last rebound.
Friars stay man-to-man, but they're really spreading the Rams out right now.
Reynolds Dean spins in the hoop, lays it down, and again, very difficult. They just can't get shots. And another turnover. Number 12 on the afternoon.
Friars has really done a nice job man-to-man. They've pushed Rhode Island out, and the Rams have been unable to get good penetration and good action inside in this first half.
Absence of a true point guard really haunting the Rams here this afternoon.
It really is, because Odom's having to handle it and try to get it going, and they don't have anyone to set him up.
We thought rebounds would be the stat of the game as Thomas buries another three. 14 first half points for Thomas.
Well, we said that Thomas would have to come up big, and he has in this first half. Nice matchup right now with Thomas covering Odom. It's about the fourth Friar to cover Odom in this first half.
Clay turns in traffic. No rebound. Loose underneath. Follow Bell for two. That is what we thought we would see Rhode Island do a lot here this afternoon. Get 1, 2, 3 opportunities. Thomas misses, but look at Kama on the offensive board.
Very surprised at Providence, where they forced the Rams into turnovers and their action on the glass.
Wright tried to lay it down in traffic, but once again, Cole got away with a hop or two in the lane. Out of bounds, and it's going to come back to Rhody. Into the game will come Maxey and more. Perkins will also check in, so wholesale changes for Tim Welsh.
Very aggressive first half for Providence, both ends of the floor. The backboards defensively, but the key has been the full court pressure against the Rams. Another fresh body now on Odom, Mike. Perkins.
Providence with 15 points off turnovers in this game. URI with none.
Well, the Rams came out in that soft zone, Mike, and really didn't get aggressive with it.
Oh, nice hustle down there by Moore. Ahead on the break. It's Maxey. Got it.
Another transition hoop for the Friars. They continue to rattle URI with that pressure.
That was interesting that Tim Welch put Thomas on the bench here with 4:35 to go as Odom hits a three. Let's see where the Friars can go for offense. They got one basket there off the fast break turnover. But with Thomas off the floor, we don't have a lot of shooters out there for Providence.
Justin Farley with a nice touch, and more perhaps from the wing.
Moore, maybe in the paint.
Either way, take a look for it, Kendrick.
The lead is 12. It belongs to Providence as we approach 3 minutes to play here in the first half. A real surprise. Rhody coming into this game 25 in the country. Odom, a nice move with the dribble, and a pretty two.
I think Lamar is saying, going to look a little bit more for the offense. Great move to the goal that time.
Perkins lays it back out. Right. Oh, good look for Farley.
Boy, how about Farley getting rid of that ball? Yep. Just wasted no time. What a shifting move over there by Odom the last time, Mike.
He just blew by Perkins that time and laid it down to Clay.
Odom starting to make it look easy with the ball now, and he's penetrating much more effectively.
Looking for Clay hanging on the rim. I'm not sure when.
I think that must be it, Mike. There was a little bit of hang time after that dunk.
We've got a timeout, 2:38 left to go in the first half. The Rams are trying to make a little noise, but the Friars are having themselves a good time here this afternoon. Well, the Rams finally getting a little something to shout about. Lamar Odom showing what all the hype was about.
Yeah, he makes the nice three-point shot, and then on the next play, look at that. Shifting move, stutter step right by Perkins in for the easy deuce. And at 6'10", he's starting to show you why people are so excited about his ability.
You and I were talking during the break. I think it's the big 2.5 minutes for Providence. They're going to keep this lead in double digits and get to the locker room.
A lot of intensity expended in this first half, Mike. They've got the lead. They've had it, but they don't want to give Rhode Island the momentum, cutting this thing down into the single digits.
Rhode Island's trying to overplay a little bit here on the defense. More. Rebound taken down by Clay. The shot clock was down to 7. Odom gets it ahead quickly, and 2 for Reynolds-Dean.
That was about as close to a quick transition basket as Rhody's had in this first half.
Absolutely. Tim Welsh up yelling signals, and now he's looking for a timeout, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, he wants a timeout. I think Tim sees these last 2 minutes the same way you and I do.
Sees the momentum shifting. He saw his team looking a little bit confused and said, hey, let's talk it over and get ourselves regrouped right here.
20-second timeout. First time that URI has been in single digits for a while. That's Lincoln Allman on the end there with the blue shirt and red tie. He's the governor here in the state of Rhode Island, a URI alum who comes to every game and recently re-elected, and has said that they will build a new arena down at the University of Rhode Island. Keeney Gymnasium, one of the real old bastions of college basketball, will disappear here over the next few years, and a new building will go up. It helps when the Gov is an alum.
That does help. That's a great home court that Keeney Gymnasium, which URI enjoys right now, but always nice.
You made a few hoops in there.
Nice to get that new facility.
That's how old that building is. Boy, as a spark off the bench as Jamel Thomas back in the game, hits a jumper.
Well, that was nice. A nice timeout by Tim Welsh. Regroup, get a play set up for Thomas, and get right back to the 10-point lead.
URI, though, has hit 8 of the last 10 shots. Vincent takes it strong. Offensive follow down there low by Bell.
Bell's done a nice job in this first half, all over the court.
Approaching the final minute here, the Friars trying to use a little clock and milk this 8-point lead, 35-27. Conley, who has been quiet so far in the game.
He's yet to score, Mike, in this first half. Missed a couple of jumpers.
Averaging 12 a game coming in off the first 2 outings. There's Thomas. Rebound tipped and controlled by Clay. Rhode Island a chance to get to 6 or less.
Nice job by Clay to not force the action that time and look for Odom to handle the basketball.
Keeps the dribble alive. He's got more on him. They clear aside. Odom trying to back more down. Good look underneath. Clay, tough turnaround, goes down.
Now give Rhode Island credit. They've been really struggling in this first half, but closing the gap right now. We'll see if Providence can get that hoop and the momentum going in at halftime here. Look for Thomas.
Friars dearly want that last shot. They get it to Thomas. And Bell's going to be called with the foul. And I tell you, I thought the freshman did a pretty good job moving his feet. But he picks up foul number 2.
Good look by Providence to get it to their go-to guy, which is always critical in situations like that. A man who can create the shot in Jamel Thomas. Not even the bonus, Mike. Turns out to be a pretty good foul by Bell.
Thomas comes up firing. Yes!
Got the 3.
19 first half points for Jamel Thomas. We said off the top, Jamel Thomas was capable of having huge afternoons in this building. He's just about halfway to 40. He buries still another 3. And the Friars have a little breathing room here at the half. They're up by 9, 38-29. We'll be back with lots of halftime activities and a look around the Big East right after this. Guess right, but he was a little late with the feet jumping into position. Picks up his 3rd.
Farley playing with a lot of intensity out there.
So Bell will go to the line 1-1. Providence has won 3 out of every 5 games played in this series when they are the home team. So as small a state as Rhode Island is, when you control the tickets, the building has meaning.
That's right. Now you can't make the comeback when you don't drop the free throws down, especially the front end of one-on-one opportunities.
Maxey inside. I can't believe how easily he's getting that shot off over Clay.
Yeah, the entry pass and the shot.
Yeah.
All right there.
And there's another steal. Kamar comes up with it. He's got help. Takes it himself and makes it.
That's been the story today. It's been turnovers and cashing in at the other end. There it is again.
Linehan pulls it back out. This is just a tremendous confidence boost for this Friar team coming off those 2 losses earlier this week. And that's going to be a foul on Vincent reaching in.
And there's no better feeling in a game, Mike, than being up like this, up by 25 now for Providence, and really controlling the pace. Let's break when we want to, and let's set up when the opportunity's not there. And Tim Welsh that time trying to get John Linehan to bring it back out and set up. Almost goes down over in front of the bench. He's into this game, and certainly the game plan has been effective today.
Friars looking to build on the largest lead of the game. First point for John Linehan on the afternoon. A dejected bunch of Rams will head back down Route 95, about 35 miles or so to Kingston. Linehan has yet to miss a free throw this year. All Friars, 70-43. So just rolling here this afternoon, 70-43. Mike Gorman along with Ron Perry. Glad you could join us. Lots going on this fall afternoon. Let's take a look at some gridiron action as Rutgers has gone ahead of West Virginia. Rutgers still alive. A chance to go to a bowl. Boston College with a 23-7 lead over Pitt. They're playing in the 4th. Penn State coming back strong, up by 24. 14-point lead for Michigan. They're playing in the 4th, looking to take Wisconsin out of the unbeaten ranks. And Missouri hanging on to a 7-6 lead over Texas A&M. Florida rolling over South Carolina. It's going to be a foul on John Linehan.
And you can see right there the difficulty Rhode Island's had bringing the ball up the court in this game. The pressure Providence has put on, it's forced Rhode Island way away from the basket. And the defensive pressure and scheme has worked very, very well.
David Smith at the line for Rhode Island, shoot by 1.
Smith able to knock down the first. Hit a three-pointer earlier in the game, but Tim Welsh has to feel unbelievably good about the effort of his team. I mean, it's one thing to put out the effort and not see the results, but to come in here and face the number 25 team in the country, put out the effort and blow them out, has got to be a tremendous confidence boost.
You can build off it. You can say if you play that way, you get good results, and the players start to believe in it, and you get your confidence going.
Smith leaves it for Odom. Odom looking inside. They have not been able to get the ball into Reynolds Dean at all. Reynolds Dean with 8 points in the game.
He was just open there. I mean, Thomas was behind him, but didn't get it.
Down to 12 on the shot clock. Odom's floater is just a floater, but Reynolds Dean with the catch and 2.
That's good effort by Reynolds Dean on the weak side. And again, Odom way out of sync offensively at this point.
Just making passes so easily.
Yeah, the defensive pressure and the pressure on the ball by Rhody just hasn't been there. Another turnover.
Linehan the quick hands. Thomas. 30 for Jamel Thomas. 27 the Providence lead with under 6 minutes to go.
Well, if you're Rhode Island right now with 5:50 to go, what you need to show is effort. You know, they're turning the ball over. You've got to get out there and try to play as hard as you can down the stretch.
Conley's going to pick up that foul play of the basket. Odom the assist.
That's his 4th, team 9. Justin Farley checks back in for the Friars. Vincent for Rhode Island.
Jamel Thomas, the day has belonged to him.
Well, you got to give him all kinds of credit, Mike. 19 first-half points, takes charge. He's cashing in while Providence is putting forth that defensive pressure, and then it gets contagious. And all kinds of openings out there right now for Providence. And no pressure by URI, Mike. On the other hand, the depth not there for Jim Harrick's club, so not able to really apply that pressure. And they've been passive at the other end defensively.
Look at that. The follow.
Well, 3 guys go for the rejection. No one there to put a body on Maxey.
If you told me coming in that Justin Farley was going to be beating 3 people off the dribble and taking it to the basket,
you wouldn't have said I'd agree with me. That's for sure.
Score that one for Reynolds Dean, and he will get to the line.
Number 33, Jamel Thomas.
Jamel Thomas picking up his 2nd personal foul. And that's no knock on Justin Farley. Justin Farley's game is primarily as a perimeter shooter.
Right.
He's not known as a guy who puts the ball on the floor and tries to beat you off the dribble, but not only did he do it successfully there, he beat 3 Rams off the dribble. And there he is coming in for a rebound.
I mean, he's played hard out there today.
Real hard.
A lot of the Providence plays have, and I think that's where it gets contagious. Linehan starts it defensively, Corey Wright. And there's Tim Welsh saying, hey, let's keep this thing focused and stay with the game plan with a 20-second timeout.
All Friars to this point, and if you want to get inside the huddle of your favorite Big East team, go online at www.bigeast.org. That's O-R-G.org for all the basketball and conference news from around the Big East. Lots of the colleges really updating their websites. Providence College has a great website. I know my partner Ron Perry is on the net all the time.
That's it. I got to check with my kids on how to
surfing into the late hours.
Congratulations.
Really? You're not carrying the laptop around yet or anything?
No, I left that at home today, did you? Good action, though, to see Mike mid-November, to see this kind of intensity. College season starting earlier and earlier with tough battles, too, for each other. Man-to-man.
Used to be to find a game even around Thanksgiving, you had to go to either Hawaii or Alaska. Now you just go down the street and you can see a good game like this 10 days before Thanksgiving.
Well, it's good preparation, no question, for league play. I think the coaches would probably like a little more preparation time when you're trying to blend in some young players. 2-3 zone for the first time today by the Friars. Wow, another turnover.
Trying to cover too much ground with that pass. 25 turnovers and only 5 for Providence. Another 3 for Conley. He scored 13 points here in the second half. And this may get over 30 here before too long.
What you don't want to see for the Rams, if you're a Ram fan, you don't want to see the team pack it in. You got to play hard down the stretch, because right now it is just all Friars.
Take a look at that last jumper by Conley, who's got that sweet stroke that had college coaches all over the country flocking to Peabody, Mass. to see this youngster play.
He scored over
13 of them in the second half.
Over 2,400 points as a prep star at Peabody High. The thing I like about Conley's game today, Mike, the first couple of shots he took didn't go in. He kept playing hard. And in the second half, we've got to see him just comfortably settle into his rhythm. He's got a beautiful stroke from the outside. Treadwell thought about that one.
Looked good from where we sat.
Left-hander. These are the kind of moments, too, where you catch your coach's eye with your intensity level and get yourself some more minutes like Farley has here today.
6 points for Farley. Farley had some big games for the Friars last year. Really didn't get a lot of minutes in the first couple of games. But as you said, his effort here this afternoon is going to win him some time. Treadwell, trying to force it up underneath, is able to draw a foul from Llewellyn Cole on the way by with 3 minutes and 17 seconds left to go in the game.
It's kind of a nightmare afternoon for Odom, Mike. He's on the bench now. 5 points and didn't score in the second half. Just a lot of pressure, and I think he got tired out early in this game with guys all over him and expending a lot of energy bringing the ball up the court.
Well, you know, you have your point guard go down with an injury, and you're a multi-talented and a great player like Lamar Odom is, and you get a chance to play a little bit of point as he did earlier in the week. And nobody had a chance to really prepare for him, so he could kind of do it at his own pace and do it the way he wanted to. He got in a game like this where they came out and got him early, and he was one tired cookie 5 minutes into this game. We'll be back with more right after this.
Congratulations to the person sitting in section.
Well, the best part of this game has been the intensity of the Providence College Friars all afternoon, and as a result, with 3:17 to go, they have 80 points on the board and have a commanding 27-point lead over URI, who, frankly, have really never been in this game.
No, they get out of it early. They tried, Mike, toward the end of that first half to make a bid. Got it to, what, 6?
Yep.
That was close.
Thomas hit the 3 right with 3 seconds left in the half to get it back to 9, and never got any closer.
Second half has really been dominated by the Friars. Good hustle as the Rams hit the deck right there with Conley. The Providence right now work the clock, get good shots, and try to bring this game home in a way that shows that you've dominated all afternoon.
Tim Welsh's first victory as a Providence College coach, and he will remember this one for a long time.
Yeah, he didn't want to be the first coach to suffer the 0-3 start, Mike.
Look at that, another turnover, right? Had some help and decided to take it himself, and the foul is going to be on Thomas over the back. Corey could have had still another highlight play if he decided to drop that one off to Thomas. But Thomas still searching for the career high here. He's had 30 for a while. 32 the career high. Conley goes to the bench, gets a nice hand from the Providence faithful as Kendrick Moore comes back in. Mafula will be at the line. He will get 2. Jim Herrick using everybody who's in uniform here this afternoon, with the exception of Preston Murphy, who has that air cast on his ankle. Preston, I think, just wanted to be part of this afternoon. At least He thought he wanted to be part of this afternoon. He might be wishing now he had
Oh, yeah, now he's sitting
kept the old suit on.
Hey, this is Jamel Thomas, the third coach he's played for in his career, over there giving Tim Welsh a hug. Tim Welsh getting his first victory, as you just mentioned, Mike. Wafula with a nice release from the foul line, dropping to the freshman center from Uganda.
80-55 with 2.5 to go. The Friars will win their first game of the season. Rhody will slip to 2-1 and will probably slip out of the top 25.
I would think so. They're on the edge right now with sort of the 23 to 25 ranking, depending on which poll you're looking at.
And I think with Murphy, I still think they're better than that. I think they're a top maybe 15 or 16 team.
I do so.
When Preston Murphy is in there at the point, but without him, and you can see Jim Harrick is going to move right on from this loss.
Right. Now, he's been through it, and I think there are some afternoons where you say, well, just about everything went the other way. I think the one thing that caught my attention anyway is the beginning of the game. The intensity level has got to be way up from where it started today for the Rams.
Well, again, we were talking during a timeout, and it seemed for Rhode Island that because they were indecisive on the offensive end because of a lack of a point guard, that indecisiveness just carried over into every other phase of the game. They were a step behind defensively. They didn't box. It's like every single phase of the game suddenly became a mystery to them.
Right.
Nearly forcing a turnover there, which they have not been able to do. That's tipped out of bounds, and it is turned over. Just the 6th for the Friars here today. 26 for Rhode Island.
To the Friar lineup, replacing Kendrick Moore.
Kendrick Moore is going to go out, and Kamala comes back in. Under 2 minutes now to go in the game. 7 points on the afternoon for Moore as he sits down. Back to the drawing board for the Rams. Vincent, nice little banker.
Tip Vincent, just a freshman. So, again, we've talked about it with the senior Preston Murphy down with that ankle injury. Tip Vincent, another answer in the backcourt, but this is just his third collegiate game.
And up until, what, 2 weeks ago, he was going to redshirt.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, when Murphy went down with the ankle injury and the academic questions came to the fore in the case of Zach Marbury, all of a sudden Tip Vincent became the starting point guard.
So he's really been thrust right into the action. So you've got that inexperience in the backcourt. So I think a lot of what we're seeing this afternoon, how quickly can Preston Murphy get that ankle healed, which some reports say it could take in the range of a month, but they're hoping that it will heal more quickly and get him back out within a matter of days.
And I think one of the things that Rhode Island may have learned here today is that Lamar Odom can be a nice little backup point guard to Murphy and play there maybe 8-10 minutes a game. But Lamar Odom is not ready at this stage of his career to be a 30-minute-a-game point guard.
Right. He does too many other things, too. He can post up. He can get the ball in the wing and make some things happen. He handles the ball real well. But as we saw today, it takes a lot of energy to do that and try to do the other things that he also brings to the court.
And especially, you know, we talked about this, too, you and I, as we were getting ready for the game. You look at Corey Wright and John Linehan, who are combined listed at 5'9" and 5'8", and are probably more like 5'8" and 5'5". and you look and you thought of Lamar Odom at 6'10", and you're going to say, oh, he's just going to have his way. And instead,
right,
those two little guys just made him pay dearly for every inch of court.
Well, his height advantage is just neutralized big time when he's 30 to 40 feet from the basket with those guys around him, as opposed to being on the wing or even down low, where there's no contest in terms of the matchup.
Knocked out of bounds. Still Rhode Island ball with 1:04 to play, and this one has long since been put in the W and L column at the respective schools in ink.
Yeah, there's hasn't been a question there as Providence stays in that zone. Treadwell's look pretty good off the bench.
Yep.
Rhode Island three-pointer by Mark Treadwell.
Coaches will always tell you in a game like this, you might get out there and and catch the coach's eye and the efforts out there and get yourself some more minutes as the season progresses.
Nice little sportsmanship there by Tavares Bell. Let's take a look at our best play of the game, brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
This is a real good example, too, of the kind of day it was for Rhode Island and for Providence. There's the steal, and points off turnovers were huge. Corey Wright, we just can't get enough of that bounce pass between the legs to Jamel Thomas, who finishes with a game-high 30 for Providence. So we really saw points off turnovers were the story today for the Friars.
Here's the best stat of the day. It's exactly that. Points off turnovers. Providence College 39, URI 3.
And again, if we predicted that one before the game, Providence, the team that turned it over more coming into this game, turned the tables on the Rams today in that category. Big time.
Final 45 seconds of this one coming down. We'll be back to wrap it up here at the Providence Civic Center after the final horn and one quick final break. Tim Higgins with the call underneath. Most of the crowd just wishing that they put the whistles away here for the final 29 seconds. Jim Harrick sure wishes they would put the whistle away for the final 29.
Just as soon call it a day at this point.
So the Friars, who when you look at the roster, you say, well, there really isn't any true center on this team, and there really isn't any power forward on this team. And you do have a small forward, certainly, in Jamel Thomas. But then if you call him your small forward, who's your shooting guard? And
on and on.
And but this afternoon,
they put it together.
Oh, they put the pieces together very well. Nice block down low by Wafula, but there is Kamal with the follow.
Kamal's shown well today for the Friars.
Yep. Very quick. 9 points, his best effort as a member of the Friars, and the Friar faithful as one come to their feet. One more for the road. Nope, I guess not, but it certainly wasn't needed. Tim Welch, his first win as a head coach at Providence College, and an impressive one it was. As you talk about intensity in the second week of November, it is here in the Providence Civic Center as Tim Welch makes his way to the dressing room, and the Friar faithful make their way out on the court for the next 365 or so days. They can say they are the best basketball team in the state of Rhode Island. Our final score, Providence 87, Rhode Island 63. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.